Hey everyone, Brian Hudson here, and this is Pathfinders, a hiking podcast with Brian. Today, we are tackling the classic question for hikers over 50, hiking boots or trail runners. I'm joined by my friend, Alex Cohen. Alex, welcome to the show. We work together testing footwear all season, but this conversation is for you if you want comfort, confidence, and fewer aches after a big day. We will cover stability, support, weight, protection, traction, waterproofing, and the fit changes that often come with age. Likewise, we will also share a simple field test so you can decide what works with your terrain, pack, and feet starting this week. And we promise one actionable tip you can apply on your very next walk, whether that's a neighborhood loop or a favorite state park trail. Let's begin.
Thanks for having me, Brian. Framing this around life after 50 matters because our bodies change in small but meaningful ways. Balance becomes less automatic, recovery takes longer, and feet often widen or develop bunions, hammer toes, and tender spots. What felt fine at 35 can leave you guarded, slow, or sore now. Let's start with some quick definitions. When we say hiking boots, we mean mid or high-cut footwear with sturdier uppers, a firmer midsole, and a beefier outsole. They prioritize protection, edging, and load control. Trail runners are low-cut shoes built to move fast, with lighter uppers, more flex, and running-style cushioning. They prioritize agility and energy savings. Both categories can be excellent. The better choice is the one that delivers the right blend of underfoot stability, comfort, and control for your terrain, pack, and feet today, not the pair you used to wear. That's the lens we use in the lab and on weekend trail audits. Practical, personal, and testable.
That framing is spot on. I want to underline something you set up, Alex. Support is not the same thing as a tall collar. In our lab, torsional rigidity and platform width predict confidence more reliably than collar height. You can have a floppy boot that twists like a pretzel, and a runner with a stable chassis that feels planted on rock. Flex point matters too. If a shoe bends at the midfoot, you fight it every step. Let's help people test this in the store. When they twist a shoe by hand, what should they feel for? And how can lacing fine-tune fit if someone wants a touch more ankle reassurance without locking the joint stiff? And while we are at it, let's flag what a stable heel counter feels like under the thumb. People often miss that check.
Sure, Brian. Here are 2 quick tests. First, the hand twist. Hold the heel in one hand and the forefoot in the other, then wring like a towel. You want some resistance, not a noodle. Too stiff can feel wooden, too soft can feel vague on roots. Second, bend the shoe at the toe. It should flex where your toes bend, not in the midfoot. Now, here are 2 fast lacing tweaks. The runner's loop locks the heel without over-tightening the forefoot, reducing slip and blisters. Window lacing skips a pair of eyelets over a tender spot to relieve pressure. Check the heel counter by pressing the back with your thumb. It should feel supportive, not collapsible. Combine a snug heel, a moderate twist, and a roomy toe box, and many hikers discover they do not crave a tall collar for security. That formula steadies steps without stealing natural ankle motion. Comfort follows stable mechanics.
Let's now pivot to weight, because our knees usually feel tired and sore by the end of the day. The old saying goes, a pound on your feet feels like several on your back, and our field notes agree. Lighter footwear often keeps cadence snappier and reduces late-day stumbles. But light does not guarantee more comfort. Midsole chemistry drives a lot of the hike. Can you walk us through EVA versus polyurethane, and where rock plates, toe caps, and shanks matter for protection, especially for hikers with tender heels, a cranky big toe joint, or who feel sharp rocks more than they used to? And while we're there, let's touch traction differences, because rubber compounds and lug patterns behave very differently on wet routes, slick slab, mud, and scree. People feel those choices the second it rains.
Sure, 2 big midsole families show up most, EVA and PU. EVA is lighter and usually feels softer right away, which can be great for tender heels or long paved approaches. The trade-off is it compresses sooner, so the ride can feel flat after a few hundred miles. PU, or blends that include PU, weigh a bit more but resist compression and keep their spring longer. If your knees are a concern, that durability matters. For sharp rock, look for a rock plate under the forefoot. It spreads pointy impacts. A toe cap shields nails and the big toe joint from stubs, and a partial shank can add midfoot stability for side hills. Traction-wise, deeper lugs help in mud and duff, while stickier rubber grips wet roots and slab. Softer rubber wears faster. Harder rubber lasts but can skate on slick wood. Match lugs and rubber to your season, not just the brand logo. That choice will show up every step.
Let's now tackle wet versus dry. Waterproof membranes are great until a hot climb turns shoes into saunas. They block water, and they also slow airflow, which can swell feet, soften skin, and set up hot spots. In shoulder seasons or snow, the same membrane is a gift that buys time before your socks get wet. How do you guide people on membrane versus mesh? And what sock and gaiter combos make each smarter? While we are at it, let's fold in fit for changing feet after 50. Wide toe boxes, space for bunions, good heel hold, swelling management, heel-to-toe drop, rocker soles, and orthotic compatibility. These details are often based on comfort more than brand or price, especially for seasoned hikers who know what hurts by mile 5. Give us the practical checklist you use in fittings. Keep it real, please.
Okay, Brian. Membrane versus mesh is seasonal and personal. If the air and ground are cold, and if you expect snow, a waterproof boot buys you warmth and time. The catch is drying time. Once wet, membranes dry slowly. In heat, a mesh runner with a thin sock keeps skin cooler and dries fast after a splash. Add gaiters. Clean feet reduce friction. For fit, start at the toes. Many feet widen with age, so a roomy toe box that lets toes splay can ease neuromas and bunions. You want a secure heel that lifts 1 millimeter or 2 when you walk downhill. Heel-to-toe drop is personal. Higher drop eases calf and Achilles strain. Lower drop feels nimble, but may irritate the Achilles if you switch too fast. Rocker soles reduce big toe extension for stiff big toe joints. Orthotics work in boots and runners if the insole is removable and there is enough volume. Make sure you test with your socks and inserts.
Matching footwear to the day's work is where many hikers get their biggest win. On our test loops, the same person prefers a mesh runner in August and a burly mid in November, and both choices are right. Let's talk load and surface. With a light day pack on groomed paths, low-cut footwear often feels fantastic. Add a multi-day pack, fresh snow, or off-trail travel, and the equation changes. Stiffer platforms spread load and edge better in side hills. How do you help people choose based on pack weight and the surfaces they actually hike? And which pairings make the most sense with microspikes, snowshoes, or slick winter sidewalks? Listeners also ask about off-camber scree and dry, dusty summers where traction changes week to week. Alex, please fold those scenarios into your answer. Give people clear, simple decision rules if that's possible.
As load goes up, so does the value of a firmer, wider platform. If you are hauling more than about 25 pounds, a supportive mid or boot helps keep your ankle from collapsing inward as fatigue sets in. On off-camber, rocky trails, that stiffness lets you edge and reduces the micro twists that add up by mile 10. For snow and ice, most micro spikes and light crampons seat more securely on a stiffer midsole with defined heels. Snowshoes also feel more controlled with boots that resist folding under the binding. In hot, dry summers on packed soil or decomposed granite, a breathable trail runner shines. In damp seasons, a waterproof mid with gaiters keeps heat in and slush out. Here's a great decision rule. Light pack and groomed trail, choose the runner. Heavy carry, off-trail, or winter traction, choose the boot. One listener switched to runners and hiked more often. Another returned to mids and regained ankle strength.
Let's protect our wallets and bodies with a quick durability and transition check. We see stout leather boots logging close to 1,000 trail miles when cared for, while many trail runners feel tired by 300 to 500, depending on body weight and terrain. The trick is retiring footwear before it retires you. Compressed midsoles, flattened lugs, A mushy heel counter or hot spots that were not there at mile 50 are signals. For transitions, if someone has lived in boots and wants to try runners, how should they ramp up without irritating the Achilles or plantar fascia? And for folks moving the other direction, what does a modern break-in look like without getting those nasty blisters? Also, flag early instability, frequent toe catches or narrow steps. That is a good time to use trekking poles. Include any simple strength or mobility work that smooths the change, because small habits at home can keep momentum going and setbacks low. People appreciate clear steps.
Sure, Brian. With trail runners, expect shorter lifespans but quicker dry times and lower weight. Retire shoes when midsole creases stay after a night off, when the shoe feels thin on small stones, or when the heel counter allows sideways wobble. For transitions, go slowly. Moving from boots to runners, start with neighborhood walks and short, flat trails for a week. Alternate days. Add gentle calf stretches, towel toe curls, and 30-second single-leg balances. In week 2, add hills. In week 3, add roots and rocks. If you feel tugging in the Achilles, back off and add a few millimeters of heel lift temporarily. Moving into boots, most modern pairs still need the uppers to soften. Wear them around the house with hiking socks, then do a few easy miles. Condition leather if stiff. Aim for a boot that flexes at the forefoot and holds the heel before big trips. That patience protects tendons and keeps enthusiasm rolling forward.
Nothing derails a great outing faster than hot spots. The fundamentals still work wonders. Clean, wicking socks, keeping grit out, and reducing friction before it starts. I like merino blends, and, for some hikers, a thin liner under a mid-weight sock. Others thrive with a single well-cushioned pair. Alex, could you please give us your quick playbook for preventing blisters and your on-trail fixes if someone feels a rub by mile 1 but wants to finish the loop without damage? Then let's cover buying smart. What in-store and at-home checks do you use for toe room, heel lift, torsional support, and downhill toe bang? Any guidance on return policies and break-in windows that keeps risk low? Listeners love a simple checklist they can carry into the shop or use at home tonight. If you can, Alex, could you give us your take on this? Please make it short.
Sure. Start with prep. Trim nails straight across so they do not catch on descents. Check sock seams on bunions or hammer toes. Before a big day, apply a film of lubricant to known hot zones like heels and pinky toes. On the trail, if you feel warmth by mile 1, stop. Add tape or a hydrocolloid patch, smooth it flat, and relace with a heel lock to reduce movement. Swap to dry socks if damp. Keep a foot kit with wipes, tape, patches, and spare pair. For buying, shop in afternoon, bring hiking socks and orthotics, and start by standing on insole. You want a thumb's width beyond your longest toe. Lace, tap the toe. No jamming should be allowed. Walk up an incline and check heel lift. Do the twist test and a leg balance. Simulate downhill by driving your knee over a planted foot. Look for stores that allow indoor use for a week. And finally, make sure you keep the tags on.
Now, time for our actionable tip of the week from the Pathfinders Gear Lab. Do a 2-mile A/B shakedown on the same route with your typical pack. Wear trail runners one day, boots the next. Keep everything else identical. On each outing, score 5 things from 0 to 10. Heel, slip-on climbs, downhill toe bang, ankle confidence on uneven ground, hot spots by mile 1, and then rate how your knees and hips feel the next morning. Whichever shoe wins at least 3 categories earns the job for that terrain. Okay, listeners, today we covered why footwear matters more after 50, real stability versus collar height, weight and fatigue, cushioning and protection, traction, membranes versus mesh, fit for aging feet, pack weight and seasons, durability, transitions, blister prevention, and fit checks. Thanks for listening, and thanks to my friend Alex for all his trail wisdom. From all of us at Pathfinders, stay healthy and adventurous.